This program is presented by International Container Terminal Services Inc. Excellence Uncontained.
Kalata Corporation.
Welcome to Business and Beyond. We have completed our product and market discussion series showing opportunities and challenges in these areas. We now move to some cross-cutting issues that may affect the performance of these sectors and markets.
For this episode, we have government and private sector experts sharing updates and insights on climate change, information and communications technology, and logistics. This comes after some industry news last week.
The scheduled 20-day shutdown of the Malampayan natural gas field is currently ongoing and is expected to end by mid-February, Energy Undersecretary Wimpy Fuentebella said. The Malampaya shutdown started January 28 and will end February 16. The DOE official gave the update on the Malampaya platform shutdown also to mitigate any price shock for consumers and businesses when they see the higher electricity bill expected in March. At the same time, Fuentebella reminded households and businesses that natural gas is a precious resource that needs to be used wisely not just during the shutdown period but all the time in order to help conserve energy. Gifts, decors, and houseware industry stakeholders will promote and expand businesses aggressively to capture both domestic and international markets as they aim to achieve at least 5 to 10% annual growth in export until 2030. GDH companies will participate in government-subsidized outbound trade missions specifically targeting the big United States, buyers, and non-traditional markets to explore more market opportunities. The Philippines is highly dependent on the US as its market, with 58% of exports going to the US. Apart from the US, other importing countries for housewares are Germany, Canada, United Kingdom, Japan, France, Qatar, Netherlands, Italy, and Poland, among others. It also underscored the need for GDH sector stakeholders to study the ASEAN market and how it could be a potential source of raw materials in a bid to make the ASEAN Economic Community work for the industry. Summer is almost here, and for the dance enthusiasts, it has come very early. On February 23 up to the 26th, the Boracay Latin Dance Festival 2017 is on.
It's a large international event of Latin dancing. So the Latin dances that we highlight in the event are club dancing. Salsa, cha-cha-cha, merengue, a little bit of reggaeton. There's a new African dance, which they call African tango. It comes out of the West Africa. It's called Kizomba. At 4 p.m. in the afternoon, especially in Boracay, we'll start the party, we go till 11, and usually people keep dancing up until the early morning. And we'll have lots of fun games, we'll have lots of competitions, and prizes to give away as well.
So for those who want to start the summer right by shedding some unwanted holiday gains, or just want to have some fun and chill, this is the event for you. See you at Boracay!
Welcome to Crops Agri Mobile App, ang pamilihang agri-products sa iisang pindot lang. Sign up sa Crops. Pumili ng user type. I-enter ang account details. by seller, itatanong ng crops na ilagay ang iyong settlement account. At handa na natin gamitin ang Crops Agri-Mobile app. Libre ang Crops Agri-Mobile app at pwede ka pang maging buyer or seller.
International Container Terminal Services, Inc. Excellence Uncontained.
Kalata Corporation.
International Container Terminal Services, Inc. Excellence Uncontained.
Kalata Corporation.
It's been less than a year since the Department of Information and Communications Technology was established via Republic Act 10844 signed in May last year. But expectations are very high and requirements all urgent. Let's get updates from the head himself, Secretary Rodolfo Salalima. Sir, let's go straight to the programs and the plans. Are you on track? Did you start from scratch?
We started from scratch because the law 10844 in fact abolished all communications agencies, and the law established an entirely new department. Only by the second quarter of 2017 will we be able to finally have the organizational chart of the department.
What is the priority of all these plans?
Yung priority namin are the projects which the President mandated. This is the broadband plan, and the last one is the portal. So the broadband plan is necessary for us to complement the services of the existing telcos, and very important because we need also to have a one digitized government network. By using the online services of government, we'll be able to avail of all the services to the government.
Sir, yung portal, is that up already?
Itong by the second quarter of this year. Itong Wi-Fi, we started rolling out the Wi-Fi sites. So we will help the telcos also in giving the citizens access to the government in those areas where they don't have access to the internet.
Other challenges that you are looking that will hamper the implementation of all your plans and projects?
The matter of licensing, yung gaya ng how to speed up internet, the processing of cell sites installation, natatagalan because you need about 24 to 25 licenses. We have this memorandum of agreement between the DTI and the DILG and the DICT. And in that memorandum, dapat one day lang when there are applications for public service operations.
In the medium to long term, what are you looking at?
We will have this telecommunications summit in February 23, 24, 25. The speed, the coverage, or the alleged lack of access, the matter of cost will be addressed.
Alright. Sir, lately yung privacy issue naman ang has been hugging the limelight, no?
We are simply just starting to implement the Data Privacy Act. We need a lot of structuring of our network to put up some security measures. One of our 5 or 6 basic duty is the protection of the consumer in their privacy rights and the right to cybersecurity.
This is the time to make your message or appeal to the public and all the stakeholders regarding what you are doing now.
Pagbigyan po niyo kami ng pagkakataon, kaunting panahon, because kaki-create lang po ng department namin last year may summit po tayo itong February, end of the month of February. Invite din the NTC, the regulator, the telco private public service provider like Globe, Inismart, and the consumer to a summit where we can hear everybody. The burden given to us by law is heavy. It is so great. It is so challenging, and we cannot do everything unless we have your full support.
Thank you very much po, Secretary. Alright. Business and Beyond will be back.
Welcome to Crops Agri Mobile App, ang pamilihang agri-products sa iisang pindot lang. Para makapagbenta sa Crops Agri Mobile App, mag-sign up bilang seller at mag-post ng iyong produkto. Kumpletuhin ang mga karagdagang impormasyon tungkol sa inyong produkto. Matapos ang paglagay ng mga impormasyon, choose a delivery option. Ilagay kung saan ang iyong lokasyon. I-upload ang mga litrato ng inyong mga paninda. Mabuhay! Matagumpay ang inyong pagpo-post! Libre ang Crops Agri Mobile App at pwede ka pang maging buyer or seller.
International Container Terminal Services, Inc. Excellence Uncontained.
Kalata Corporation.
International Container Terminal Services, Inc. Excellence Uncontained.
Kalata Corporation.
Climate adaptive, communities of resilience. These are just two of the buzzwords in the advocacy of the Climate Change Commission as it leads the country in the mitigation and adaptation measures towards lessening the impact of global warming. What is the real situation and how are we coping? The assessments and insights will come from no less than the Commissioner. Business and Beyond welcomes Commissioner Francis Veronica Victorio. How serious is the climate change issue?
Climate change is a big issue worldwide, but I think it's so much more important and critical for the Philippines. Just to put things in perspective, we're about number 13 in terms of vulnerability to climate change, and we are ranking number 4 in the world. It's just going to get worse, and I feel like small businesses, they will be more susceptible to all of these impacts. The resources will be much more expensive, they will be scarce, the demand will exceed the supply by about 40%. Right now, we're at about 1.2 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels. At 2 degrees Celsius, it will have some potential for adaptation. At 4 degrees Celsius, it will have no potential for adaptation. It means that our crops will be dying. It cannot anymore adjust to the increase in temperature. Our coral reefs are also at risk. At 2 degrees Celsius, it's about 98% are already at risk.
How can private sector work with the Commission?
We're the lead policy formulating body for climate change. So we do have to work with you. On the other hand, it also presents several opportunities for businesses. And this is something I'd like to think that we can help you manage the risk, but at the same time, try to see this, okay, this is now our new reality. How can entrepreneurs actually make the most out of it? Technologies to develop further. We also have to think about construction industry. We'll have to build more resilient homes. Tourism industry will be the one that will be at risk.
Is there an interagency committee working together on this?
The Climate Change Commission was actually created for that purpose. So based on our law, we actually have a Climate Change Advisory Board, which is like made out of several agencies. We also have a Climate Change Cluster that's also with the DNR and the Commission Services Secretariat of that cluster. We're not an implementing agency. Such a big issue that there has to be a body that actually focuses on it. Otherwise, people will get stuck in their mandates.
Are there specific programs and projects?
It's more of like how are we going to manage the emissions, but definitely also like policy formulating. We're focusing it also based on we have a national climate change action plan. So we've identified like what are the strategic priority areas. For food security, we also issued a resolution on community food gardens. We've been talking to helping the local government units to actually come up with their local climate change action plans. Financing is also we look at. There's People Survival Fund, which is from the Philippine government, but we also have like access to international funds.
If there's one message you'd like to share or share with the public?
Well, I think climate change is already a reality. It's a hard reality. So I really would like to encourage all the businesses to start placing this into the equation. It is something that we cannot ignore anymore, and start taking into consideration the risks that climate change presents to your business, but also, let's be more positive about this. Let's look at the opportunities. How can we make the most out of this reality? Benjamin Franklin would say that if you fail to plan, in a way, you're also planning to fail.
All right, Business and Beyond will be back.
Welcome to Crops Agri Mobile App, ang pamilihang agri-products sa iisang pindot lang. Para magamit ang Crops Agri Mobile App, maghanap sa List View. I-confirm ang order. I-upload ang deposit slip. Tagumpay ang iyong pag-order. Para sa mas mabilis na transaksyon, i-chat ang mga taga-benta. Libre ang Crops Agri Mobile App at pwede ka pang maging buyer or seller.
International Container Terminal Services, Inc. Excellence Uncontained.
Kalata Corporation.
International Container Terminal Services, Inc. Excellence Uncontained.
Kalata Corporation.
With the logistics roadmap and master plan being finalized separately and soft and hard infrastructure being facilitated, it seems that the logistics sector is being prepped up to support current growth and targets. Let's get this assessment straight from a major player, the International Container Terminal Services, Inc., through the eyes of its Senior Vice President and Regional Head for the Asia Pacific and the Manila International Container Terminal. Please welcome Mr. Christian Gonzalez. ICTSI is in 30 ports in 20 countries. How does the Philippine logistics sector compare with those in other countries?
It's very difficult to compare, but what I can say is there are certain areas where we compare favorably and certain areas where we compare unfavorably.
Okay, and where are the gaps that government and private sector have to jointly address?
Is in coordination and transparency. Speaking specifically out of Manila, remember we have multiple local government units that can have a big impact on regulation of road traffic. Coordination among these local government units is absolutely critical. On top of that, we need to make things more transparent. The end customers don't really get the transparency that they need because these companies don't have scale to create tracking systems and GPS systems and things like that, which is understandable. We can assist in doing that, working together with the different associations.
So you think there is need for one government agency to be on top of everything?
I support having this done out of either the Department of Transport or through an organization like the MMDA. If you have one body that's really looking at how quickly a container moves from one point to another, and you have the expertise within this body, they'll be able to see where they can improve this process to reduce the overall flow. We certainly need something to allow our leaders to bypass some of the unfortunate bottlenecks of the past, no?
You've had your 2 million TEU milestone. And what does this mean for the industry and for your clients?
To the supply chain, there's a lot of good news associated to that, no? You know, many people in the past who don't really know how things work in a port have questioned the ability of the port to handle this kind of cargo, and we've been able to do so seamlessly. The really good news is that now triggers a commitment that we have in our contract to further expand the facility, dramatically actually, both equipment and water and landside wise. Unless other things are done, it's not worth expanding. For example, improving the road network, like I always say. You notice now when you come in, we're concreting this road. This is a road that is outside of our concession area, but we are taking the liberty to do the civil works there.
All right. Now, the cost of logistics trips still remain high, right? Especially within the domestic ports, the inter-island shipping. What is your prescription?
Our domestic shipping lines have been hampered for a long time by the fact that they don't have the facilities to give them what we call schedule integrity. If it's only the domestic terminal in Manila that's modernized and not the terminals where they're going to, the domestic shipping lines cannot get enough schedule integrity. So it's very, very important that all parts of the chain, the port chain, domestically are modernized so that the domestic shippers can bring in newer, cheaper, more efficient ships, keep them on a good schedule. Essentially, shipping is really driven by schedules, by what you call berth windows. People need to have equipment and the efficiency in the ports to be able to commit to those windows. If you do not allow the operator or the investor to charge a fair amount for his services, he won't invest in the equipment. So it's a vicious cycle.
We don't hear complaints anymore, and that's good news. Good things are happening.
Right now, what we're struggling with is overly early arrivals naman. Earlies are as bad as late, so we have to find a good compromise on how to get people to really keep to their appointments.
Well, exports still declining. What about imports?
Imports have been pretty solid. I mean, in line with our overall economic growth.
Yung 15-year-old trucks na phase out.
If, forcing the replacement of 15-year-old trucks debilitates the entire industry, that's not good for anybody. We need to make sure that we're coordinating with our trucking industry, everybody, not just the powerful players, but everybody, to make sure we're putting the right regulation in that benefits us the best way from a holistic point of view.
Thank you very much
Thank
for
you,
all this,
thank you.
Christian.
Thank you very much.
Business and Beyond will be back.
Federalism? What is it about? Is it the forum of government suited for us? Last February 3, the first Federalism Forum was held at the Vivero Hotel. It was organized by the Rotary Club of Alabang, the Philippine Chamber of Commerce Muntinlupa Chapter, and the local government office of Muntinlupa.
Here as kindred spirits, very curious and eager to learn all that we can about something we as a people are not too familiar with, the federal system of government.
If not a federal form of government, at least an autonomous area.
We see federalism to be just one element. So this is the uncertainty that we don't need to subject ourselves to.
If federalism fails us, okay, this actually opens our democracy to an authoritarian challenge.
The federal system was instituted right away because we're an archipelago, lalong magkakawatak-watak ang Pilipinas.
For our very able moderator, wala pong bukas. Miss Katayna, thanks for everyone.
It is the first of a series of symposiums addressed at the understanding of the needed change in our country.
I hope na ito ay talaga magiging productive, hindi lamang sa aming mga nanunungkulan sa government, kundi lalong higit itong sa business sector.
As of now, I cannot really say what would be the final advantage that we will have. So it's best to listen to the experts.
We're into infrastructure, agriculture, alternative solutions for energy. So, mas yung process mas mapapadali.
More progressive and making things more, making the process for the government to be quicker and faster.
Hindi po federalism ang sagot sa kahirapan, lalo na sa corruption, but more on change.
Federalism or not, one thing is for sure. Change is coming, and we have to be ready.
We've come to the end of Season 2 and close this week's episode. We hope that the discussions have been educational, useful, and relevant for you as they were for us.
Join us again next week for the start of Season 3, which will focus on ASEAN and the tourism sector. For your comments, views, and suggestions, please visit our social media accounts where you can post them.
Remember, connections matter. Here at
Business and Beyond.
This program was presented by International Container Terminal Services, Inc. Excellence Uncontained.
Kalata Corporation.